Well, I tried to get it on YouTube under 10 minutes and it says it's still too long. So you might be watching this using iMovie. Hopefully I'll get that resolved. And I hope that light isn't blinking for you like it is for me on the computer. It's not really blinking in this room. Anyway, we were talking about research and how I want you to do extensive research even though you're required to do a minimum of 6 sources. You really want to do more. Remember, lead into anything that you write down, highlight, and when you do highlight, write in the margins why you've chosen that, what is its significance, what struck you, what was the context, what were you thinking at the time that you highlighted it, and then make sure you also get all the information you're going to need for your bibliography page. We talked about annotated and detonated sources. You want to write down why some worked for you and maybe some of the biases of the other ones and what you have to watch out for in those sources. Not that maybe you still might use it, but you want a little maybe asterisk by it or know that yes, this has been biased. And remember, even science magazines and reports can be biased. Depends on the questions that you decide to ask and how you interpret your information. That light's going to drive me crazy. Sorry. Okay, then we're talking about chapter 16 and your need to actually read it and look at the examples of how students have annotated in the past for suggestions. And then we talked about copying and pasting and the dangers of that. And one of the biggest dangers of just highlighting it with your mouse, clicking it, copying it, and pasting it into a document, there are a number of problems. One, you're not really thinking about it, you're just clipping it and pasting it in. Second, it can lead to a bigger chance of plagiarizing. So later on when you're writing something up, you might not realize that that was taken verbatim. You might think it's your notes and there you're using somebody else's work. You also probably aren't putting in the notes like you would on your note card, why you're choosing this, or you're not sorting it and categorizing it. Unless you're very good at using the computer and cutting and pasting and doing all that, it's okay. Just be cautious and be aware that you can run into problems and it's an easier way to plagiarize. Practice paraphrasing too. Quotes are good. Direct quotes are good to use when you can't say it better yourself. Then you want to use the direct quote, or if it's some person of significance and you want their exact words, you might then use your quote. But in general, you'll want to paraphrase, although that's different than when I went to school. They said quote, 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 what's the good words, because they can say it better than you can, and then use it to support your own opinions and what you're saying. But it's good to practice paraphrasing because it has actually twofold reasons. One, it makes you pay attention to what you're writing down and what its value is to you. And if you can paraphrase it, you can probably show that you understand it, what it's saying to you. If you're trying to paraphrase it and you're having a difficult time, A, it might be just that great of a quote and you want to use it as a direct quote, or B, you don't really understand what it's saying and therefore you can't paraphrase it. So it's also a good mental exercise and it helps you think about why you are using this piece, and it also, I'm going to sneeze now, and it shows that you understand why you're picking it, and it shows that you can interpret it. So it is important to paraphrase and paraphrase and paraphrase. But be sure, and again you can check these out in, let me see, section 16F of your book. Often a paraphrase may seem to make sense at the time, but if you do not write down why you chose it, later on when you look at it, you might be wondering and you might end up throwing it out because it no longer makes sense to you. So make sure you annotate even though you're paraphrasing. And that, like I said, writing your introduction to it, and it'll help later on as a transition when you write your paper. So, and much of research involves paraphrasing and explaining ideas and explaining how they match yours or fit in with the idea that you're trying to say. Okay? Oh no, it went dark. All right. You want other people to respond to what you're writing too. Okay, so that it'll help you judge the material that you're using. So if you pick something out that sounds great, sounds like it supports your idea, you might want to bounce it off of someone else, see what they think. Is it saying the way you paraphrased it, is that what it says to the other person also? Because remember, you're not only doing it for your own understanding and helping you to understand your topic better, you're also trying to take that material and show it to an audience and say, look, this is what supports my thesis. This is what supports my idea. So you're paraphrasing for that reason. So if there's something that you question a little bit, maybe you want to paraphrase it and then read the original to a friend and then read your paraphrase and say, do you understand? Am I correct in this? Okay, so you are in danger of misrepresenting the person that you're quoting. So if you're using the material, make sure you do understand what they're saying and it fits in with other things that that person has said. And you know, news agencies and comedians are notorious for taking just a little sliver of something somebody said and then playing it over and over again, or exaggerating it, taking it out of context so that they can get some comedic value out of it, or perhaps because they want to win a vote, and if they take something that their opponent said, just a snippet, and take it out of context and replay it in a commercial, it'll make them look good as a candidate rather than the person who actually said it. So remember that. People are going to want to know this source, and you want to represent it honestly and truthfully. Okay? Now I really want you to read chapter 16, and because I want you to do it, I'm going to make you take notes on it, and I've written up questions for you to answer on that. So, now, would you rather have a slideshow and see slides and hear me talking? Or do you like these different views of my household and having my mom and dad watch you as we speak? You'll have to let me know which version you prefer. I know I prefer not looking at myself because I feel very odd talking to myself. Good luck.